What's up everyone, Vu of Envu Films, and I am back with another idiotic video for you to watch. And today's video is idiotic because I'm about to give you advice when I am no psychiatrist, I am no specialist, I am no doctor, I'm just a big old tube douche doing a YouTube video and hoping you will click on the links of the description below to buy stuff for my commission, as well as hoping Squarespace will notice so I could eventually become a Squarespace sponsored channel. All jokes aside, back to serious business. I'm here to tell you my advice on how to push through wedding film backlogs. And I know it is February. I'm sure plenty of you are still in the backlog just as I am. And I'll also tell you right now that the way I've been going about my life the past year is probably not the healthiest, and I understand that long-term success, I cannot keep doing this. I understand that, but I'm also going to use this as a storytelling element to help you with some perspective, to help you push through. I want to like to talk to you first about my crazy 2021, and this is not me showing off. This is just me laying down the groundwork for where I am and for me to start giving you the advice. First of all, throughout 2021, I always maintained my salary job, 9 to 6 as a film and photography director for a marketing firm locally. And yes, thankfully, I've been working remote since the Corona stuff happened. So that has been helping, but I still have to go out to, shoot projects and then come back and edit them. And that's like a 9 to 6 job, no ifs, ands, or buts. And due to the pandemic, I shot 40 weddings in 2021. Usually I only do about 25 to 30, but last year I did 40, and most of them, 99% of them, I filmed them. So I go to film with my second shooter, Say Park or RJ Goodwin, and I probably had 1 or 2 films that I didn't show up to film because of like some scheduling conflicts that happened with the COVID reschedulings. So I actually sent Say to help film that for me as a primary, and I went to film another wedding. So the majority of the weddings I film, I don't have like a big team that films a bunch of weddings. So those 40, pretty much I was there. The salaried job. And on my personal end, in the beginning of the year, I sold my townhouse, I bought a new house, and I did like $60K worth of reno to the new house. Between selling the old house and moving to the new house, I also had to move into an apartment, moving all of our stuff between storage. Mind you, I have, wife and 2 kids. We moved all our stuff into storage, moved all the stuff from the storage into the new house. It was crazy. So I was doing all this work while also managing the reno and moving all that crap in 2021. It was wild. So I think I have a pretty good idea of what it's like to be busy AF. AF stands for autofocus. So here is my advice to you based on my personal experience. Advice number 1, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling burnt out, if you can't move forward with your wedding films, try to work on something else. Yes, it seems counterproductive working on something else, but sitting there doing nothing is also counterproductive. If you work on something else, film your family, do your own little short film, just do a YouTube thing, do whatever it is you feel like. It helps you break that little cycle of doing the same wedding film after wedding film after wedding film, and it kind of resets your brain a little bit. So then when you come back to editing the wedding film, it gives you a fresh perspective. I get that naturally during the week because I do work on other things, not by choice. So a lot of times that helps me reset and be re-energized to work on our wedding films. Literally, the past 2 months, I've been editing and completing 2 wedding films per week. And that does not include editing Monday through Friday. Again, I'm a film and photography director for a marketing firm that time. And after I'm done, I don't feel like doing anything. After I'm done at 6 o'clock, I don't feel like doing anything else. So that Saturday and Sunday that I'm not filming a wedding, I am editing. So I've been successfully able to finish a wedding on Saturday and a wedding on Sunday, and still being consistent with my quality and to my client's satisfaction and to my satisfaction. Are they perfect? Of course not. But honestly, even if I spent 3 months just editing one film, it's never gonna be perfect. And you have to realize that. You always find a way to nitpick something in your film, and you just have to get past that. So yes, number 1, try to work on something else in between working on films to help reset your creative mind so you could focus on editing the next film. Number 2, the absolute most difficult thing for me in terms of starting a wedding film is actually not being tired, not being burnt out. It is actually finding the right music for your wedding film. And that is what I do to get started on a wedding film, and I'm sure many of you do the same thing. And it is very tough, like, let's be real here. We have a big library of music to choose on nowadays compared to like 10 years ago. But not all the songs are great. Not all the songs match with your couple. Not all the songs work. But what I've realized that the past 7 years of editing wedding films, I have picked many great songs. And then I realized that some of these songs deserve to be used more than once because they just work. They work with the emotion, they work with the storytelling, and they just work. And depending on how you use it, you can't even tell that you're using the same song because you use certain different parts of the song. Or even if you did use the same part of the song, you're talking about a wedding film 2-3 years ago, no one will know, no one will notice, no one will care. Literally, there are wedding filmmakers out there right now using music from Hans Zimmer in their wedding films because you could license Hans Zimmer music now. So I've seen wedding films where they're clearly using Interstellar music from the movie Interstellar. And someone like me who is really in tune to music in movies, I recognize that. But apparently, maybe their couples don't even recognize that it's a soundtrack from Interstellar. If a wedding filmmaker can use music from a blockbuster Hollywood movie in a wedding film, you can surely reuse an old song from an old film that you did before on the film you're working on. Because let's be honest, you picked those songs back then because they're good. They're still good today. Use them instead of spending 10 hours picking some song and then settling for a song just because it's different from any other song you ever used. But then while you're editing, it's killing you because that song is really not that good. And I've been through that before where I had to pretty much start all over because I just was not feeling that song that I spent 4 or 5 hours looking for, and I just was not feeling it. And I had to get rid of the whole thing. So that is tip number 2. Tip number 3 is just don't watch other wedding filmmakers' films. Or if you do, don't put yourself down if you see some wedding filmmaker's film that is just in your mind really, 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 really good. And that really, really good stuff is very subjective. A lot of times, I see some great films, posted on Facebook groups, right? And I watch them. And at first I'm like pretty blown away by like that initial viewing. I'm like, wow, that is great. That's awesome. I'm not being a hater. There's a market. There is value to everyone's films. And every client and every filmmaker, they have their own style. They have their own likes and interests. They value different things. So there's not being a hater. But sometimes that first view, you're kind of blown away. But that is at its like very base level until you have to break things down. Like, where is this market? Is it the United States? Is it, Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Philippines, what have you? What is the budget of this wedding films? How much, were these filmmakers paid to do this video? What is the size of the team? All these things have to be in consideration before you start measuring yourself to other people. And I'm gonna use this example. I've watched plenty of wedding films from, filmmakers in the Philippines. They're extremely stylistic. They look incredible. There's a lot of creativity. It looks like a perfume advertisement. And at first, when you first look at them, you're like, wow, like my films do not look anything like that. But then you realize, you look at your clientele, you look at where you are, you look at your own personal style and the taste of your clients. That kind of filmmaking, that kind of editing will never work for your clients. It looks tacky to them. It looks great for them. Some people like some extra hype and pizzazz to their films. And then some clients want authenticity. And where I'm from, my clientele the culture here where I live, authenticity matters, because that extra hype and that extra stylisticness to a wedding film doesn't matter to them. But that does not mean that that type of filmmaking doesn't matter to that culture where it's being filmed at. And you have to take that into consideration. We live in different markets, things of that nature. And you also look at their work environment. You know, they probably have multiple days to work on a wedding film, versus here in America, we only have that one day most of the time, unless the client pays for that extra day. But usually it's that 8 hours that day, 10 hours a day, sometimes even 6, 7 hours on that wedding day, where you have to film everything you need to create this amazing wedding film. And, you know, that's probably 95% of the type of working environment I deal with. And again, it's just me and my second shooter. A lot of these other wedding film teams is like 4 to 5. You know, some of these same day edits you see, it's 4 guys filming. 1 guy is there dedicated to edit the whole entire day. And that's how they come up with that. You have to put things into perspective. Or you see other wedding films, even here in America, and then you look at that film, you're like, wow, that's really amazing. And again, you have to put the perspective of your client versus their client, how much that film was worth, and how many films that videography team company produces a year. Some of these guys get paid 10, 15K for their weddings, and that's great. But they also only do maybe 1, 2, or 3 weddings a year, where they have, with the bigger budgets, gives more time to shoot, gives more time to edit, gives more time to do all this stuff, maybe even hire a specialized editor, a sound design, all these things. And it makes this film look and feel a certain way. And then you have to realize this is where your market is, this is your team, this is your size, and you do what you can with that. But at the end of the day, you are editing the film for your client. Your client hired you because you have that talent and they like what you produce. So just remember to produce what you do best. You know, just know what you're good at, and that is what you want to focus on. And no matter what, you want to focus on telling the story. You don't want to, you know, start your wedding film thinking about how creative you can edit this thing. Like, what transitions can you add in? What special effects can you put in there? What can you do to impress other videographers out there in your video? Because that may impress your videographers and the videographer groups. It may impress your client. That 1 or 2 first viewings, just like a drone shot, is very impressive, that first viewing, and then after the second or third, it's like, okay, this is another drone shot. The storytelling of the film is what stands the test of time. That is what lasts forever. And that is what, in my opinion, is most important to your client, because they're the ones that are going to be watching that film over and over and over and over again for years to come. Whereas that cool 31-minute intro to your film is only going to impress your videographer colleagues that one watch. So, and this is coming from someone who actually posts a lot of films, a lot of projects on Facebook groups. And I do that purely for some feedback. If other videographers, if other dudes and ladies who work in the same field I do are impressed by it, that means my clients will likely also be impressed by the film. And also, obviously, I do YouTube, and I try to help other videographers who are probably just starting off. And that kind of, me posting my films up and letting them see it, kind of helps them give idea, help them get started. And they ask questions, I point them to my YouTube and all that stuff, and it kind of helps grow my channel, etc. There's no doubt about it. But those are my tips. Those are my tips for pushing through editing, going through, you know, editing ruts, and just helping you get into the right mindset to push forward in your backlog, your creativity, whatever it is that you feel like you're stuck at, you feel burnt out, whatever. Just realize that the fact that you have projects to work on, the fact that you got booked, the fact that you even have an editing queue that you have to go through, you're blessed. You know, some people would die to have a job, you know, would die to have something to edit, to make money off of, and you have it there right in front of your face, and you're sitting there, you're doing nothing. you have to do something, and I hope this video helped you move forward in that direction. Anyways guys, thanks for watching this far. If you liked the video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, lighten up.